Well, it's time we go to blows on the Kershaw Bareknuckle. Just look at that craftsmanship, folks. Super pumped for today's video with the Kershaw Bareknuckle. What I love and what gets me really excited and why I threw down my hard-earned money on this tool is that Kershaw, you know, they have so many designs out there. Many of them really connect with me, particularly their classics, their Link series now, their Leaks, the Blur, you know, the Skyline. I mean, they have so many classics that have stood the test of time, which is just super, super cool. And I've always loved their US products in particular. And this is one of Kershaw's USA made knives for late 2018 is when they dropped it and released it. Now in 2019, looking at this blade, what we're gonna get in this particular design are some really cool features that we haven't seen on a lot of their USA made products in the past. First off, this is not open assisted. This is riding on KVT ball bearing bushings. So there's no speed safe open assist on this knife. For some of you, you're gonna go, oh man, but for a lot of you, I think you're gonna go sweet, because I believe for a lot of people, when you first get into knives, you know, assisted opening stuff is a lot of fun. You're like, oh, check this out, spring loaded. But as you get more and more refined in your desires and your likes of tools, that for me, I prefer a really good smooth operation that's more of a manual when I'm looking at majority of my folders. I either want like full auto or I would prefer manual. That's for me, and I know that's probably for a lot of you. So it's super cool that they've decided to go with KVT ball bearings and use a flipper design instead of going with a speed safe. I think that was an awesome, super smart move by Kershaw right out of the gate with the Bareknuckle. The next bit is that they did go with USA made, and they decided to go with Sandvik 14C 28N steel. They've used that on several of their other designs throughout the years on the original Blur. I have the S30V version, but the original Blur, a lot of their Leaks, a lot of their other designs run that steel, and it's a very good, decent steel. It's not a super steel by any means. I see a lot of similarity between it and say like VG10 from Spyderco with edge retention and those type of things. And so it's a very good kind of middle of the road stainless steel that they decided to go with to help keep the price within reason. As I said earlier, I dropped money on this thing. I paid $65 for this over at Blade HQ. These are now available at Blade HQ and Amazon. I'm going to have links in the description below. Always helps us out when you guys use those hyperlinks that we offer to you below to those places. When items, regardless if it's the stuff we're reviewing that day or just anything in general, connects with you, when you use that hyperlink, helps us continue to buy product, make content just like this for you guys. So we really appreciate it. Check out all those links, including Knock Around Sunglasses Company, backcountry.com, and all the other stuff that we have going on down below in those links. It helps you out because you're able to get a good deal, and helps us out continue to make content. So under 70 bucks for a USA made folder, ball bearings, you know, the Sandvik steel, all that. And then finally, they have also included one of their newer designs in their sub frame lock. So this is not a standard frame lock. It's kind of like they call it their sub frame lock, where it's kind of integrated into the body. It's not just the body of the tool. So that's something that they've integrated in. You've seen this on the Natrix line, and I believe they may have, they've been using it, I think, in some of the zero tolerance lines as well. So they've included that on this. Now, that is the one thing that we want to hit today and that we're going to look at in just a moment is, does the sub frame lock work, or is it the Achilles heel of the Bareknuckle and going to cause it to lose its fist fight and its fight for your hard-earned money? We're going to break it down. I'm going to show you what I like about it, what are some hangups that I have to help you make a really wise decision in this video. That's what I always want to do, so that when you throw down your hard-earned money, you know exactly what to expect, and you know whether or not you're going to be really happy with the Bareknuckle, or depending on some of the data points I'm going to give you today, you're going to go, whoa, I did not know that, and that makes me think twice. So that's what we're going to do, because I know that this knife is probably fighting for a lot of your guys' hard-earned money, and I want to make sure it's either going to win or lose, depending on what you are looking for in a pocket knife. So let's go ahead and break this guy down a little bit more. All right, so here we are at the tabletop, and we're going to jump right into the business end of this blade here. What we have is this stone wash 3.5-inch blade with kind of a Wharncliffe drop to it. It's very similar to a lot of what Kershaw does. You know, they do a lot of that with their Leak series. All right, there, just throw that in there. That's which one is this one? This is the House of Blades exclusive with S35VN steel. We'll talk about that a little bit later when we hit competitive options. But Wharncliffe kind of drop, good precise tip there. so good precision. And then you got that saber grind, flat grind, really dig that. Glad that they went with that. We got an 1/8 of an inch thick, 0.12 on the back near the jimping, and then tapering down to that precision tip. A little bit of belly, not a lot, you know, so not as much as a slicer as, say, other Kershaw models, even like the Blur, you know, definitely has a bigger belly to it. Maybe has a little bit better slicing capability, but for the design of the knife, great piercing, great slicing, and I was just really impressed, guys. When I take it in the backyard, when I do my testing, you know, I run it through a bunch of cardboard, then I'm running it through plastics and foams and rubbers and looking to see what, you know, does it bind up on anything? Does it have difficulty cutting anything? Great relief edge, great grind angles, and we've already talked about the steel, you know, and just really done well. And for this type of design with a Wharncliffe tip and a 3.5 inch blade, you're getting great reach, you're getting great precision, you're gonna get great cutting capability and just overall performance for all of the general EDC, everyday carry tasks you would look for in your Kershaw knives and your EDC knives. That's what this bare knuckle is going to offer to you in its blade shape, blade profile. I even like this really nice long swedge back here that is just barely there. It's just more for aesthetics, but it makes just the whole design just look super cool, a little futuristic there, and just really connects with me on a lot of visual lines, reminds me of a lot of ZT models that are out there, and just really connects. So we'll hit the handle next on this design. You can see that it's got that really cool kind of, it's not purple, but it's kind of like it's got hues of purple in the gray. I really like it a lot. It really kind of stands out from just being like flat gray. You know, it definitely has, this is like a gray. You can just see there is definitely a difference there in that design. So real cool. What we're looking at is an overall length of 4.7 inches long. So that's going to give you a lot of real estate to work with. Really nice lines. Everything has been really detailed and machined very well. So there aren't any hot spots. There's no sharp angles on this at all. You have some flow through back here, and then you can even see just the gaps back there in that back spacer. You're looking at aluminum handles, stainless steel liner in there, and then this back spacer, they're not, I think that's a polymer. That might be a G10 or glass reinforced nylon back spacer back there. But this is what another great aspect to the knife is that it weighs in at 3.35 or 3.55 ounces. So basically 3.5 ounces for a 3.5 inch blade and this large a handle. You guys know my glove hand size. You've been following the channel for a while. You know, large size hands, plenty of real estate in there, really locking me into place well. Again, no hot spots, no sharp angles, no abrupt, you know, anything there. Just very natural. Got a little divot valley in here with some nice mild jimping. That's the type of jimping. If I'm going to do it, if I am going to have jimping on my knife, that's how you do it right there. Light, just give me a little bit of traction. It's not going to bite in and start thrashing your thumb, and when you put pressure on it, it hurts, you know, and you're just not enjoying cutting. That's perfect. Grabbing it right there. Nice deep cut in, so I'm not going to accidentally slide up and hurt myself with that finger flipper acting kind of as a guard there. Really well laid out in the hand. Just feels really, really good. So they did a great job with not only the weight, so under 4 ounces, thumbs up, totally rocking that. Great colors, great just little aesthetics with the pivot here and stuff, and even the cut-ins for the pocket clip, and I guess I'll just move to that real fast. The pocket clip, of course, is ambidextrous, as you guys are seeing there, so righties, lefties with the finger flipper. Totally ambidextrous knife, love that. You know, good there. The screws are not recessed in. That would have helped get over some thicker pants, but works great. And you can even use this as a secondary lanyard hole right there because there is no standard lanyard hole on the design. But it's a small, kind of compact loop over deep ride pocket clip. Love that. Really nothing to complain about in that regard, and just great ergonomics, great lightweight, slim. It's going to be 0.45 inches thick. So just awesome. I mean, they're just killing it. All right, and now to a part that is cool, not cool about the design is the sub frame lock here that we know from the Natrix and a couple ZTs and different things like that. And KVT ball bearing, super smooth, ultra smooth, great flipper there, a little bit of jimping on it, not too sharp, not too obnoxious, perfect centering. I mean, all that stuff is phenomenal. And so the sub frame lock, as I've kind of alluded to earlier, is like this, you've got this attachment way back in here. So it is kind of like a liner lock, because it actually screws into the other part of the body. It's not just like they cut out the body, but it's like a liner lock frame lock combo is kind of how it is. Great connection point right there. No wobble, right, left, up, down. I mean, super tight lockup. Really nice stop bar pin right there. That stops the blade. I mean, this is a solid lockup, and you're not going to worry about it, you know, disengaging in your hand or anything like that. And it even has an over travel stop to make sure, you know, that's not going to over travel. So, I mean, all those things are fantastic. Here is the dilemma that will make or break it for you. Is you can see right in this general area right here, this is a very high cut into the frame lock. Now, I love frame locks. I have several of them. Here's just because I have it on hand and I'm filming some other stuff for a rake video tonight. Here's a frame lock, general standard frame lock, zero problem. Now, certain people have issues with frame locks in that they tend to put pressure. My brother has this issue. He doesn't really like frame locks because he just tends to put a little too much pressure on the frame, then pushing the detent ball into the detent and making it very, very difficult for you to deploy or even not deploy it at all. Now, I've never had an issue with any real frame lock that I've ever owned. They've all worked fine, and I just know to put my finger up here and not on the frame, and we're ready to rock and roll. Well, the issue is that because of the very high cut-in of the design and not a lot of handle right here, I found myself for literally about the first week getting really frustrated with the knife because I didn't really have anywhere to put my finger. When I'm holding it, my middle finger right here, I would tend to, just by naturally grabbing the knife, I would rest it right here in this little cut-in hole, and then it would make it almost impossible. I would try and hit it, and right now I'm trying to flip it, and it is not deploying because I'm putting just a little, I mean, microns of pressure. I'm not like squeezing the knife, microns, and it's not wanting to go. So I literally then have to move my finger like up by the pivot. There we go, and then I can hit it. And I think the angle of that in conjunction with the angle of this particular finger flipper, just the way it works, it took me like 2 weeks to get a hang of how to deploy this sub frame lock without accidentally putting too much pressure on the sub frame lock and then making it basically impossible. Like I'd pull it out of my pocket, I'd try and hit it, and then it wouldn't open, and I'd have to, oh man, I'm putting pressure on this, you know, and I'd move my finger and then open it and it'd be fine. But it was a major learning curve that I've never had with any other frame lock, and I've owned a lot of frame locks and have never had an issue. So this did cause a lot of problems. I think it's just because of how small and how natural it feels just to rest your finger right here. You have to like rethink how to deploy the knife. Now, if you're a lefty, you're actually not gonna have any sort of problem with that, because when I do it with the lefty, I see where I'm going, I put my thumb right here, boom, every time, smooth as butter, gonna fly right open, right? No problems whatsoever. It's the righties that you tend to put with your middle finger, and you're just gonna, your natural way you put your hand is right there, and you're gonna pinch that sub frame lock, and it's a learning curve, man. Once you get the hang of it, it's awesome, but if you already kind of have trouble with frame locks and sometimes it's difficult for you to open them, I would say you're gonna hate this knife. I'll just be real. If you're willing to give it about a week of a learning curve on figuring out where to naturally put your finger, and this is something that you're gonna carry as one of your main go-to knives. You know, I have so many knives in the collection, guys, that, you know, if this would be, if you have like 20 knives and you're gonna, you know, carry this 2 or 3 times a month, then you're gonna constantly be irritated because you're having to relearn where to put your finger compared to all your other frame locks. I've never had this issue before, but I am with this bare knuckle. So that will, I believe, either make or break it for you. If you already have like the Natrix and it's not that big an issue for you, it's similar to the Natrix, but the handle is a little bit different. So if the handle was bigger or the cut-in wasn't as high, it wouldn't be as much of an issue. But that just seems to be the one hang-up that I have with the design. Give it a week, and now I'm solid. Well, folks, there's just so much going for it, this knife. And I love every aspect to it except for the huge learning curve. And there you go. See, I just tried to do it, and it's still about 1 out of maybe 10 times when I hold the knife that I just can't deploy it. You know, I have to redeploy that, hit it again because I'm putting pressure where it shouldn't be with that sub frame lock. So as long as you either already own another sub frame lock and you know it's not that big a deal, I think you'll be fine. Or if you're willing to invest a little bit of a learning curve into figuring out where to place your finger and then deploy it, in frame locks in general aren't that big a hang up for you, awesome. I think you will fall in love with this bare knuckle. If not, and some of these things are like, then I would look elsewhere. And I really hope that in the future that they maybe just kind of give you a little more handle body and maybe a little bit less of the subframe lock or something, just so that it's not as sticky for me and such a learning curve and always having to think about where to put my hand. I don't really like that about the knife. I love everything else about the knife. And ultimately, this part is for Kershaw. Keep doing what you're doing. USA made, no speed safe, and keeping it under $100. If they continue to do this and continue to offer, that's fine, do the Chinese stuff and keep it, you know, the $30, $40 range for those things, but continue to make, you know, like $60 to $80 knives that are USA made with these type of features. I think you're gonna hit a huge hole in the market right now and continue to meet people's needs of giving them USA name, brand, quality, all those things and materials without having to break the bank. And I think Kershaw has such good designs in their lines more often than not that I think they could really make a big win in the market in that area and win a lot of fights when it comes to fighting for people's hard-earned money when they're deciding on what pocket knife to throw in their pocket. So Kershaw, keep going down this line, the same thought process of no assisted opening, good steel, USA made, the KVT ball bearings, awesome, all of that, great lines, great all that. Just keep doing what you're doing in that regard. So guys, I hope this video has been helpful, informative, and helped make you and give you the information that you need to make that wise decision when you are throwing down your hard-earned money and answering all the questions that you may have about this bare knuckle knife. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook if you're not a current follower over there. We're throwing up behind the scenes stuff all the time. If you're not a current subscriber, I'd invite you to become part of the GT family. Hit that subscription button popping up right now. Hit that next video. You can check out the next video. We're throwing up content every single week. If you are a current subscriber, make sure you hit that bell icon next to the subscription bar. That makes sure that the videos show up in your news feed. That's just kind of the way, you know, otherwise you might miss some of the videos. You know, we're cranking out 3 to 4 videos every single week here with content just like this. So guys, thank you so much. Always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared. See you out there.